Headline news, Tesla Model 2 is cancelled. It is no more. Even before it's launched, it's been scrapped. I'm Dave. Welcome to Dave Takes It On. You must have seen the headlines, and you've probably also noticed that the headlines have actually totally reversed over the last week or so since that was announced. What is going on out there? Okay, for that we've got to look at the Model 2. Right the way through from when Tesla first started, they always said they were going to build the first car, very expensive, very niche market, very sporty. That was the Roadster, and that would give them sufficient money to be able to then release a family saloon at the top end of the market, way up with the BMWs, Mercedes, everything else, and that would be selling in bigger numbers still, and that would provide them with the money to then release a family car, not a budget one, but a family car. This is in the £40,000 range, so a good quality family car, and that will go into mass production, and that will give them the money to be able to launch the Model 2, which is the budget one. This is the one below £25,000, which is going to be for the vast majority of the drivers out there. Not many of us spend spend £100,000, £80,000 on a car. Much more of us spend 15, 20,000, 25,000 on a new one, or between 10 and 20,000 on a used one, and many of us spend less than £10,000, less than £5,000 on a car. So that's where we're heading. So as a headlines in the press, and it was Reuters who broke this story, and they got it absolutely, totally, completely and utterly wrong. And the really nice thing, this is one of the times they've actually done a retraction and they've said they've got it wrong. What they said, or what Tesla said, when they released their Q1 results, they were quite bad. They didn't get anywhere near the target they were hoping for. And so everybody said, Tesla's missed its targets. The first quarter they've ever lost money. They didn't, by the way. They just made less. But they sold less than the previous quarter, the same quarter a year ago. So they didn't lose money. They just made less, and they sold less cars. And Reuters came out with this story. They're going to lay off thousands of workers, which was true, and they're going to scrap the Model 2 because there's no demand for it. And that was an absolute outrageous lie. There was no basis on that story whatsoever. When Q1 was over, they give a financial statement. This is Elon and some of the directors, and they try and explain what the financial results actually mean. And what he said was totally the opposite, 180 degrees opposite to what Reuters had said. What he said was sales are going really well. They're selling everything they can make, but there is a slowdown in the world market. They're making a really good profit on each car. However, the market has slowed down a bit at the £40,000 or £50,000 mark range. And it's true. They also noticed this in the ICE market, in the petrol and diesels. That market's slowing down as well. And people are less keen to buy a car. They keep the cars for longer. It's a recession at the moment, and there's a vast inflation and prices are high. So this is all natural. There's nothing unusual in this. But what Elon did towards the end of the first quarter was to announce that the robotaxi, the full self-drive, is going to be working this year. They're going to have a launch date on the 8th of August this year, 8th the 8th, 24, and they will launch the robotaxi. And Reuters put 2 and 2 together and got 87, and they said they're scrapping the Model 2 and they're going to build robotaxis. This is Tesla going crazy. This is Elon Musk has gone mad. All his directors have walked out because he's focusing entirely on he's betting the whole company on robotaxis at a time we should be making Model 2s the cheap model. It was all absolute rubbish. First of all, the robotaxis and the Model 2s are made on the same platform. This is the way every manufacturer is going. It always has been. The Model 3 and the Model Y are built on the same platform. It's very, very similar. So what you have then is what you call economy of scale. If you can build one platform, it's just effectively a chassis with the suspension, the battery, the motors, steering, brakes, everything on it. And then all you have to do is, if you want to turn that into a delivery van, you put a van body on it. If you want to turn it into a sports car, you just put a sports body on it. If you want to turn it into a robotaxi, you put robotaxi and you take off the wheel and the pedals and everything else. It's a multi-purpose, and everyone's going this route because you make one platform and you can make a variety of models. So if you are making this platform and all of a sudden the market for private cars disappears, just dries up, but the market for delivery vans rapidly increases, you're just at the beginning of the production line. Say, stop making the saloon car, please make delivery vans. It's a brilliant move, and all companies are doing this, not unique to Tesla, but this is where they're going. At the same time, Tesla, Elon announced that full self-driving is pretty much working. Now, Tesla officially are level 2 autonomy. Mercedes has just announced level 3, so they seem to be ahead. They're not. You'll have seen the story in the press about the guy who had the heart attack, and he pressed the voice activation and said to his car, take me to hospital. Car drove him several miles to hospital without him doing anything. He was incapacitated and saved his life. So we see it all the time. You'll have videos running all over the place. You go on YouTube, you'll see videos of people doing their drives, and they're doing hour-long drives now, and they don't touch the wheel at all. So it's already there. So Elon believes, maybe right, maybe wrong, I don't know, that this is the year they can actually launch FSD legally. At the moment it's called autopilot. He calls it FSD, it isn't, and there's a big disclaimer that it's not FSD. You've got to keep your eye on it and everything else. But that will disappear this year, according to him, and he will be able to release full self-driving for all of his cars. Anyone who wants it. Every car he's ever made above a certain computer level. Mine's a really old one. Mine will never do it. Mine does level 2 self-driving, bordering on level 3. It'll never go full self-drive. It just hasn't got enough cameras or computing power on board. And to try and upgrade it, it's cheap to go and buy a new one. So he's announced now that the full self-driving is pretty much finished. He's going to be launching it now. He's just launched a batch for general customers now. Normally what happens is all the employees get the beta version, the test version. They drive around in it for so many weeks to find all the bugs, and there will be some. There always will. That's why they call it a beta. Then at a certain point, they will release that to the members of the public. And don't forget the members of the public, some of them are absolute idiots. You know, they're the ones who will sit in the back seat. They'll put weights on the wheel to simulate they're holding the wheel, and then they'll set the car off driving and fall asleep or whatever, or make a YouTube video. These are just total idiots. But most people will get access to full self-driving. And the ones who've got it are actually really impressed with it. So what we've got is a situation where Elon said, I'm going to launch robotaxis this year. The press, Reuters in particular, took that as meaning there's a slump in sales. Q1 was the worst ever. They can't sell the cars. The Model 2, they haven't mentioned it. They're going to be releasing robotaxis. Several directors have walked out. Therefore, this is Tesla abandoning all cars and just going after robotaxis. And the share price just absolutely plummeted. It was up about 164, 165 when all this started, dropped down to about 150 when the Q1 results were announced. And then when Reuters published this, it dropped down to 140. It's like a 30% crash. It's absolutely crazy. And it was all on lies. It was not accurate reporting. They'd taken 2, 3, 4 different things, totally unrelated, and put them all together and said, they can't sell the Model 2. So Elon then just last week came out and said, no, I've got to correct this. Let's tell you what's happening. So what he said is that we will be making a Model 2. In actual fact, we're ready early, we're ahead of time, and we will start manufacturing them this year. So instead of end of 25, early 26, they're now going to be hitting the road end of 24, possibly, maybe more likely early 2025. He says, we are fully committed to them. We're going to go flat out and make them all. And it's amazing. And it's going to be the world's best car, selling car and everything else. But it comes off the same platform as the robotaxis. If full self-driving is officially launched and it's accepted by everyone, we're going to be making robotaxis too. Now, we're not fussed on making lots and lots and lots and lots of robotaxis in the early days. And the reason for that is when you're starting up a business, which is the robotaxi business, you have a chicken and egg. You can't release an app for your smartphone with a robotaxi facility on it and only have 1,000 cars coming off the production line a week for the whole world. Chances of you actually being able to book one are nil. And if you have a bad experience in the early days, you won't get use of it. So what they are planning on doing is they're going to go out to all the existing Tesla owners who have hardware 3 and above, which is most of the cars, not the older ones, but most of the, from about 2017, 2018 onwards, all the cars had hardware 3. And they're going to say to them, look, your car sits outside most of the day, it sits at work most of the day. If you register it on the app as available, we'll split the earnings with you. So if someone here, for example, I live in Leyland, if someone here in Leyland wants a taxi and your car is here and it was capable of full self-drive and you had full self-drive, we'll use your car to take someone to the station or the airport or whatever it is, as long as you're not using it. You set the times when your car is free. So you have this ability now to go out to all of the Tesla drivers. There's 6 million of them now. Of those, about 5 million cars are capable of full self-drive. Mine isn't, loads of others that aren't, but about 5 million are fully capable of full self-drive, just need a software update. And of those, about 1 million people will never consider it. No, it's my car, nobody's getting in my car, throwing up in the back of it on a Friday night, all that sort of thing. There'll be about 1 million or so people who just wouldn't even consider it. There'll be another 1 million or two who think, hang on a minute, I don't use it every night. I go to bed about 11 o'clock. If I can go off and fetch people from the pub and take them home and earn me money, I can go out on the weekend and have a drink. So there'll be some people who want to do it. So it's likely that when they launch this, Tesla will have probably 1, maybe 2 million cars at their disposal instantly. But if they're successful, they will want to start making their own. They don't want to share the revenue with other people. They'd rather make their own and do it. So there will be a ramp up of the Model 2, there'll be a ramp up of the robotaxis, and the emphasis will go to wherever they make the most money. It's a business, it's not a charity. So if the Model 2s are selling well and everyone is forecast they're going to be the most amazing car ever, the Model Y was a £50,000 car, and that was the best car in the world, beating cars costing half the price. The Model 2, the Redwood, is £25,000. That's just going to slaughter everything. So there's going to be a careful balance. They're going to have to balance the number of people wanting to buy the Model 2 Redwood against the robo-taxis, but it'll settle down in time. New factories will come online, new production lines will come online, and they will then put the efforts where they're going to make the most money. So what's going to happen is we're going to start getting Model 2 cars. So the Reuters article, total rubbish. I released a video recently about the Tesla buying up all these spare batteries. So with these spare batteries, what was happening was all the legacy auto placed advance orders for the batteries, thinking they were going to make EVs themselves and actually beat Tesla, overtake Tesla and start selling these by the million. None of them did. They've all lost money and they've all stopped making EVs while they're retrenched, and they're going to come back with mass production in 2 or 3 years' time. But in the meantime, the battery manufacturers had made all the batteries for them, and they're now being sold off really cheap, and they don't want them. They haven't got an EV, most of them, to actually sell. Nobody's buying them anyhow because they're not the best cars on the market. So these batteries are going really, 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 really cheap. Now, Tesla make their own batteries, but they're being offered these batteries at a cheaper price than they can make them. And Tesla's not daft. It's also important because these batteries are the old-fashioned, the NMC, which is nickel, manganese, cobalt. These are the more powerful batteries. And when they were ordered, lithium was at a high price, batteries were at a high price. LFPs hadn't even been thought of. What's happened now, most batteries have got switched over to the LFP, which is the lithium ion phosphate, and they are those are less powerful. They're a lot more stable, much less likely to catch fire, but they are much lower energy density. It's an interesting thought. The Model 2 is being built. It is ahead of schedule. It will be launching later this year. You will be able to buy them end of the year, early next year. But instead of getting the lesser LFP batteries, which were cheaper, you might end up with some of the NMC batteries, which are in the long range and the performance models. And they will be cheaper than if Tesla had made the LFP batteries themselves. Now, that's a fascinating thought, that with this glut now, it's an absolute mass. It's a shed load of batteries, well, several shed loads of batteries that they're getting cheaper than they can make themselves. And those are probably going to be pouring into the robo-taxis and into the Model 2s, because it doesn't matter if the battery is much better if it's cheaper. So all that's going to happen is these Model 2s could come out with really powerful batteries, very high energy density ones, but still be a lot cheaper than Tesla was even planning. Because if they were planning to put the LFPs in and make them themselves, they can now buy better batteries cheaper, and they don't need as many because they're more energy dense. So they could put less batteries in, get good performance, and it will be less. So you could see, is my forecast, you will see the Model 2 coming out under budget. The budget is 25,000. I believe the first one's coming out will be under that, not over it as everyone else is suspecting. And I believe they'll be getting some of these really cheap batteries. Anyway, that's my thought. Model 2, it's coming out. It's going to be an absolutely cracking car. Nobody's seen it yet. There's loads of artist designs about. It looks, from the artist design is stunning, but there again, it's just an artist sat there drawing what he would like to see. What it will be, it'll be a beautiful car. It'll be well put together. They've had a few years making them now. All the old quality problems are pretty much gone. It will have good performance. It'll have good range. It will have a load of goody features that you just don't get in any other car. And it will be down, I believe, below the 25,000 mark. Bookmark this video and see how right or wrong I actually am. But let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. Do you think full self-drive is coming out this year? Elon said 8th of August he's launching robo-taxis. Launching them, not announcing them, launching them. So we're likely to see them on the roads from August. Interesting. Many of you have been telling me they're 5 years away. Who's right? Leave a message in the comments and we'll see what's happening. But thanks for now. If you like the video, just click the like button. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. And if you do want to be notified, click the bell notification icon and you'll be notified every time we launch a video. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave.